Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. It is Late Night America, the American Doofus channel. And I'm blessed to have a lot of contacts, a lot of people that follow the channel, a lot of regular viewers, a lot of regular chatters. And I thank all of you. And specifically, one of our viewers said that I need to remember to put this up before videos, and I thank them for reminding me of that. And I ask all of you that are regular viewers that if you see me start out sometime and I don't put that up, then let me know about it. And because we need to have it up. All right. Here we go. Starting out with something here a little different. Okay. Um, a little introduction there for those that don't know. Those were all quotes from a book by George Orwell, and the book's called 1984. If you're just joining us and you just caught that, um, hold on. Here we go. Let me get back to the slide I want to bring up here, the page I want to bring up. George Orwell Wrote 1984 in 1949, and the last little clip there, war is peace, and I don't know. It is a highly recommended read if you are someone that likes books and you've never heard of George Orwell. I recommend 1984 and Animal Farm and Politics and the English Language. Um, Orwell, John Steinbeck, an author called Studs Terkel. Those are three of the people that have influenced my writings. And I wanted to start out our election eve with that reminder that no one seizes power without or with the intent rather of relinquishing it, among other things there. First editions are worth quite a bit. That's exactly right, Tanya. Um, Hi, Guy Bassett. Hi, Shannon. Hello, Hellraiser. Freebird. Atlas Shrugged. Another good book. Um, Ipru. Oomph. GA from CA. Komet. Levi. Hello. Hello, Laura. Hot Mess Summer. Ruth Sanders. Hi, Tanya. Riglin. Casey, how are you? Thunder. Thank you all for joining. Um, who is John Galt? I'm not sure who John Galt is. Doesn't ring a bell at the moment. Hello, bad boy. Hi, Lori Arnold. We're gonna do something here real quick coming up, um, because I'm not really sure what happened today. So everything is allegedly, and according to a site we often reference, the reenactment with Dolls. Dolls has a video up, guilty, 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 and go to reenactment with Dolls if you'd like to see the video, because I'm not going to take views from that site. They need the views, they need subscriptions. They put a lot of work into what they do, and if you enjoy such things, we highlight some of the lighter stuff, the comedy stuff, as you know, if you're a regular viewer, and if you are a regular viewer, thank you so very much. And if you're just joining us, thank you as well. And I also want to say thank you and good morning to those that watch in the mornings. Some people will email me and say, look, I turn you on in the morning and watch the replay. Thank you for that. Those that are watching on your lunch hours, um, uh, thank you for thank you for doing that. And no matter when you're watching, I thank you. I really do. It means a lot. And go watch some of these. Go check out some of the sites we have on here. And if you like what you see, give them a subscription and help the channels grow. So, BTM Sparky's in here. I see the Popcorn Squad. Hello, Bunny. Hi, Sea Shark. She Hawk. Wow. Ruth Sanders. Hello. All right. Um, I'm going to put the. I'm going to put the link out here and invite somebody on real quick. We've already talked about this briefly. Um, are you ready for the madness of it all, waiting for the red moon? We're going to talk about that, actually, Paradise Pete. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I just dropped the link in there for the one and only Lori Arnold. Um, I think Lori's going to come up for a couple of minutes here, and we're going to talk about what allegedly has been happening, unless, she might have dropped out. The link's in the chat there. And again, for the moment anyway, it's just for Lori. Hello, Mater. Faye Allen, hello. Uh, oh my gosh. Is that for real, BTM Sparky? Okay, uh, we'll see about that. Oh, hello.
Hi, excuse me.
How are you? I can't help but get a smile and laugh every time I see you. You know, and that I mean that in a positive way,
Uh,
okay?
you, you know
You
what?
know,
I thank you. That's a compliment. I
uh,
and if you saw my egg rolls, those were pretty good too. Let me tell you.
were they? I noticed. For those that haven't watched it, go to Lori's platform, the Lori Arnold channel. After we get done here, uh, she's made egg rolls tonight and chats with it, and there's some pretty funny stuff in there. She had a little
Horse sauce.
problem getting had a little problem getting the ends of the egg rolls to seal.
I didn't burn anything though.
Well, that's always a positive.
I will tell you this is funny because after all did call me later and say, would you please just make sure that you unplug. So I
Just make,
didn't burn down the house tonight.
yeah, yeah. That's always a good idea. Make sure you turn everything off after you get done using it. Yeah. Okay, so the last time we talked in person, and all of a sudden there was this torrid love affair according to the internet. And then I see you in my chat here, and you dropped the hashtag, "Who is the baby's daddy?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope that's not what's going around about, because I can guarantee you that.
Dude, there's no babies growing over here.
to qu- to quote Michael Jackson, the kid is not my son."
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, so let
Did,
them have some
did
fun
you?
with that one. Yeah.
Well, somebody was was getting my comments after the egg roll, and he must have just seen the sausage part because he said thank you for making my sausage with me or something like that. And I'm like, oh God, you're starting the rumors. You're just starting them.
Yeah. Yeah, just asking for it. There'll be 25 videos now after your sausage video.
There was already asking. They were asking where Echo was, if anybody had seen him, and they had that singing with a bunch of sausage meat. They thought Eddie was in the. Whoops, I mean Echo was.
People are insane, you know?
Oh, you gotta laugh though. Come on, it's
Oh
all
yeah.
humor.
Right. All right. Okay, now everything's allegedly. What's been happening today and over the past couple of days?
Well, we heard that David got what? See? That's
What?
always nice to hear.
He got what?
See, I heard that, and now this is my allegedly case and a $1,500 fine. But I've heard all kinds of stuff that I actually trust. Who said that? So we'll see.
Okay. He
He
he was
probably won't
guilty.
get any.
He
Yeah, but
was
he's
guilty.
guilty.
Okay, he's guilty. And did you say 3 days in jail and a $1,500 fine?
That's what I heard. So that's allegedly. I
Allegedly.
don't
Yeah.
allegedly. I
Okay.
don't
All right.
really know.
All right. And it's the same thing with the hashtag who's the daddy. All of that is allegedly at the moment.
All allegedly. It's a big question, though. So, who's the daddy? I think that's a fair question with all the shit I know about that.
And if you want to know what she's talking about, follow Lori Arnold. Go and subscribe to Lori Arnold's channel. She will tell you she'll tell you on her channel what she knows. And
oh yeah.
And I can't help but feel like it's kind of like Christmas is coming up, and I kind of feel like Oprah Winfrey. It's like, you get a restraining order, and you get a restraining order, and you get a protective order, and what is going on with all this?
I got another one.
Another one here in Indiana?
I got one that I know. But what's really crazy, Barry, is this. Okay? It's not the restraining orders are crazy, but I went down to my police to talk to them about something, and he actually received the call while I was live. I don't know if it was last night or and they had called my police department. Were trying to get them to come down and take my gun because I was violating restraining orders by speeding 76.
Okay, they called the police in your hometown and told them to come and take your guns while you're doing a live stream?
Yes, they said she's live streaming right now talking about our group, and she's restraining orders on her, and she told him that they wanted him to come the mouth of the police officer. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually talked to the man, and he said he told her that he couldn't do anything like that, and he wouldn't. It's just craziness. It's
got to start. It's got to be obvious. People have got to start seeing that if they haven't previously, that the group wants their Second Amendment rights, but want to take away yours. They want their freedom of speech, but want to take away AP's and everybody else's that is not them.
You know what, Barry, when I protested before all this stuff in my house, and I had a lot of signs in my yard, and my neighbors put up some signs, and I'm okay. I mean, we butt right up, and they put their signs up, and they were it was in totally different. And I actually heard people coming by and saying something about something was going to happen to those signs of my neighbor. I told these, and I told everybody. I went on social media at the time that I was on, and I told everyone, those signs of my neighbors, I will be the one that turns you into the police department, because I will turn you in. Yeah. I will not tolerate that, because they have every right to say whatever they want, just like I do. And you're not allowed to go and attack them. It's freedom of speech.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anything else going on? Anything else happening?
Well, you know what? So I want to, on this is important, because you got to think of this. This is our first, and for everybody, regardless of your party, to think that somebody who gets upset or doesn't like you, whatever the case may be, goes to somebody who's not even a judge, but a magistrate who may not be a lawyer, okay? And that this person could look at evidence, no evidence, maybe not even in their jurisdiction, and just take rights away from you. Literally take the guns out of your home. side of the aisle you're on, as a protester, you know, you got protesters on the think that somebody could literally come and take your guns because of what you say on social protest when there's no threats made. That is a big. I'm big on my Second Amendment rights, and I think everybody needs to because the only reason this is going on, Bree just got served with some. I don't know who will say anything more than that, but
yeah, let's not.
This will not stop until we're accountable for using the system that victims should be able to use. And that means I expect people to be prosecuted for what they're doing. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I not only want money, I mean all over. I have to actually hire an attorney for this West Virginia. Then I've got to hire. It's like $2,500 at least for the one lawyer. This is ridiculous. Poor people. So what? Poor people just don't get any justice?
No,
if
generally
you put
not.
it on a poor person, they just have to eat shit.
Yeah.
And you could take my... We have to fight this.
I agree. I
had to get it out there.
No problem. No problem. You know you're welcome on here anytime, right? And we'll
yes.
and we'll get back together in person here real soon, okay?
Come over for some egg rolls.
I'll do that. All right.
Or we can cook and we can cook.
That would be a good show. You and I cooking. We could do like an audition for a cooking show. You know, one of the channels would probably pick it up, and you know, because it would be hilarious.
Well, we could just put another S. We could put an S on the end, and it could be.
Thank you. No. Lori Arnold, everybody. Thank you very much to Lori Arnold for coming on. Again, everything's allegedly, all right? Because I don't know. Again, other stuff seems to have been happening, and including something with Mike. Mike is one of the people that showed up when 1776 was at the mall. So I'm not sure what's going on with all that stuff, but we are on election eve. Okay, hold on a second here from Telescope. For some reason, here, let me pull it up here. See if there we go. Mind blown. 76 was allowed to wear security shirts in front of the court today. Whoa. Santa got a slap on the wrist. Maryland troopers need to charge the rest of 76 for July 4th. Okay. Hold on a second. You need to speak on this. Okay, Sparky, I'll tell you what. Let me drop the link one more time here before I get to our other stories. For some reason, I don't know what it is. No, that's not it. Let's see if I do this. No, that's not helping. Whoa, that's not helping at all. Let me see. I'm having trouble posting. For some reason, having trouble. There we go. All right. Can you see that? BTM Sparky, I put it in. Glory B said David had to spend the weekend in jail. Okay, thank you, Dean Wall. Hey, and no time in jail is good. All right, you know, an hour in jail is not good. Overnight in jail is not good. A weekend in jail is not good. There is nothing good about being in jail. Number one, there's the chance that something happens and you end up in jail for a much longer period than you should have been. And right now we're going to bring up, there we go. Oh, I'm not hearing you. Hold on. Hello? I'm not hearing you. I can't hear you, Sparky. It shows like, you know what? I'm trying to read lips. No, I don't want to do either one of those things. Let's see. Okay. I made sure you're not muted here. Are you muted there? You need to hop out and come back in? Okay. All right. Flopper's grandma took out a restraining order on him. The DC jail officers took out restraining orders. Is that the guy that allegedly took out the restraining order allegedly on AP? Because I thought he was a fairly big dude. I wouldn't think he'd think AP would be some kind of threat, but who knows? Santifa got 57 days suspended, time served. He has to walk in and out on Saturday, plus a $1,500 fine. Okay. And I'm sure they've already raised. The money and got that covered. How do I? Okay. I'm going to pop this up here for just a second, and then there we go. Get that off. Hi, Cunning Stunt. I don't know if I've said hi or not. And who else? Max Smith, Faye Allen. It's paid already? Okay, I figured it would be. I figured that would be raised in a matter of no time. And I'm not saying that begrudgingly. I'm just making it a statement based upon past experiences. There you go. There's the link. They're growing around the idea of appealing it too. Okay. Hope he gets his CDL license, gets revoked. They raised it by mooching off gullible people. Okay, let's try this again. And there we go. Hi, Sparky. I don't know. I can't hear her. Can you guys hear her? Can anybody else hear her? Is anybody listening? I can't hear you. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Nope, we can't hear her. No, can't hear a thing. Have her check her mic on the channel. Adorable Deplorable says, check your mic on the channel. Is it working on your end? Never been arrested, never stole nothing. That's a good way to be. She's muted. No? Okay, that's muted. That's unmuted. She's not muted here. Can't hear her. Can't hear you. BTM Sparky. 2. First word sounds like... Sorry, I was playing charades. Well, have her refresh her screen. I think the sound is off on the restream that she hit. Okay. Turn your speaker on. She's coming through on, I mean, as far as my software, she wasn't muted. She should have been coming through. I know Lori buffered every once in a while there, but that always happens where she's at in the state where I'm at, and if I'm using Restream. Someone or something is jacking my mic. Okay. All right. Well, I know other things were happening. We could hear Lori. Okay. All right. Oh, is she gonna be mad at you, Mater? I don't hope that's not addressed at me. It's been happening to lives all day. Okay. Thank you, Komet. They're so proud to be in a ped cult. Yeah. Well, let's take a quick look at what's going on breaking news wise. We'll try and see if we can't get. We'll try again with Sparky and maybe somebody else that wants to pop up here real quick. In the meantime, Houston police today arrested a man accused of throwing a can at Senator Ted Cruz during the World Series victory for the Houston Astros. The can hit Cruz, 51 right here, around his chest and neck. He did not need medical attention. Here's some video of what actually happened. Some say the guy was tossing Ted a can of, I believe they said it was White Claw. Ted Cruz flying White Claw at Astros. I'm not sure White Claw is beer. WashingtonPost.com is the source of that initial one, and this one is entitled "Better View of the Beer Toss to Ted." And as soon as I get it where I can, we'll give this a quick view. It shouldn't. Okay, we do not in any way, shape, or form recommending tossing beer cans at any politicians. Booing substantially, we are definitely okay with, and sometimes we even highly recommend. Okay, Sparky's back on. Sparky's back over here. Let's see if we can do this again here. Sparky? Okay, she's in my green room, but I can see her, but she comes up black. This is crazy. I think somebody might be messing with BTM Sparky, connection-wise. Okay, well, In the meantime, I'm going to have this guy on the program, and I've been talking about doing it. We were talking about Ted Cruz, and he created this meme, sent it to me a while back, and said, at some point, this is going to be appropriate. Use it on your show. So, for those that do not know, this is from Green Acres, and this is Mr. Haney, and it's more hokum from Ted Cruz as Mr. Haney there. So, what do you know? An appropriate time. And an email that proved to be at the right time. Okay, it sounded like, let me get back over there. And then if we can get, no, there she is. All right, there she is, and she's moving around this time. We can see her.
Hello.
We can hear her, or at least I can.
My mama always said a third time's a charm.
Well, your mama's right in this part.
I just shut it all down and started it back up. It was something that was malfunctioning in the machine.
Awesome. All right, so.
I just want to speak on one thing, okay? Like, just one thing.
Well, first of all, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Keymaster, and how are you, my friend?
I don't unlock everybody that comes on. Okay,
I love you for that. I love you
I choose who to unlock, and you know.
I appreciate that so very much. You have no idea what has happened since then.
Oh, I'm teasing, of course.
So I want to talk about something, okay?
All right, what is it?
I witnessed something tonight that was beyond atrocious in a situation that I'm burying and I'm not going to address on my channel. But
okay, address it here.
I used to be a homeless person, and I've been mentally ill, diagnosed mentally ill, severely mentally ill since 2000. And 1997, excuse me, 1997. Let's have all the receipts in order, right?
Yeah.
So what I saw happen was this person try to take advantage of someone that they do not love, that they do not care for, that they're totally trying to discredit on social media and in a social platform, when you don't get to make the decision for that man. You don't get to call anybody to come get that man. He's talking clear-headed. He's facing you down, and you don't have the right to make that telephone call just because he's crazy and he's homeless. Like, I always use the word crazy, so let's get past words. Crazy is what they try to play it out to be. We can't even have normal thought patterns for ourselves. And that is a bullshit lie, because I've been unmedicated for 22 years. And that shit that person was saying to that man, that was the wrongest and lowest thing you could have done on the planet to a homeless person that has mental illness. And you do not have the right whatsoever to contact their family and try to enlist their family on your side of the argument to lock that person up in a mental institute.
Okay, so what happened here? Give me a little bit of the backstory. I assume
Flopper has this piece. I watched Anarchy Princess on Twitch. Flopper has this, and your chat's probably going crazy. Flopper had this list that's sitting in front of Mike. He's talking to Blue Shirt Mike, and Blue Shirt Mike starts busting his ass out that he knows, you got this money from me. I have these issues. And yes, some people beat me up, and yeah, I am homeless, but these people aren't lying to me about this money that was sent to you on my behalf. And he thought Mike was just going to roll over, and he had this list out in front of Mike, thanks to Anarchy Princess and Notebook Tifa. And he was prompting the man in the video. And then when he's walking away, he's talking about how, I'm not a perfect Christian, but he's got demons and God and blah, 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 blah. And I think I should call somebody on his behalf. it was the wrongest thing I've ever witnessed happening on the face of the earth besides outright violence toward other people.
And did he indeed call, and did they indeed come
We
and
don't know
check on
that, but
Mike, or
we don't know that, but AP reached out to Mags and his wife, as terrible as they can be to other people, to make sure that Mike was okay, that Mike got away from Flopper and whoever was with Flopper, because Flopper had other people with him. It was
and you think they were there to roll him, or
no, he handed his phone to someone to walk away with while the conversation was still going on with Mike, and there wasn't anything
okay,
that wasn't clear-headed about Mike.
okay,
Mike was he wasn't even given the opportunity to answer and tell his story, but he was busting him out. He was busting him out. I'm so proud of Mike. And you can't do that shit to people just because they're mentally ill. You just can't. There are laws in place that say you can't do that to anyone that's mentally ill, especially not if you're not their family. And it was bad. It was bad. It took me back to a place where people treated me a really, really certain kind of way about the fact that I was homeless and I was crazy and I wasn't valuable to anybody on the face of the planet. Yeah, that got me, man. That got me. Like they have no level that they won't stoop to.
Summer wants to know where the video's at.
I don't even want somebody. I'm not even gonna say that boy's name. I'm trying to put these ghosts to rest. Somebody give Summer the boy's channel name. Give her the boy's channel name, and that's why I was not in her channel, because that was so disturbing. I couldn't go from one disturbing thing to the other. I'm trying to deal with Survivor. Saying, but I am most mentally and was home a tremendous amount of what he did. That on YouTube should be taken, and like he shouldn't be allowed even air mistreatment or protected under the laws of the because they have ability and unhoused. Absolutely nothing to that. Oh,
I know you're
ah,
getting.
I,
Okay, all right, all right.
it,
Do, okay,
like it's something to about.
um, somebody messaged me just a couple of minutes ago. Ask about swarming the guy at the courthouse. Did
I
was
don't
there something that happened?
know
Do you?
about that. I
Okay,
don't
all
know.
right. If somebody
Absolutely
in the
know
chat
about
knows
that.
about that, yeah. If somebody
Um,
in the chat knows about that, that event,
it's not
if
okay to
or what?
coerce them. It's not okay to coerce and mental illness
No,
benefit
it's not
whatsoever.
at all. No, absolutely not. All right.
Other than that,
You,
like before, and I love you. Good to see you and
I
feeling
love
better.
you too. Good to see you.
Sooner.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Are you feeling better?
a little bit. Yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. I go back in. I go back in a week from tomorrow. So, um, but
Okay.
yeah, I'll be all right.
We're all
I
sending
hope.
of love and energy and
Thank you.
belief and
Thank you.
wonderful human. Okay, I
Thank
love
you.
you. So I'll see
Love
you
you
later.
too. All right. Thank you. Sparky Madness. It's BTM Sparky is the name of the platform, the name of the channel, and Sparky and Summer and a lot of Lori Arnold, a lot of strong women, um, Bon Michelle, a lot of strong women are developing channels, and highly recommend that you check them out because um, I've personally witnessed a lot of good work going on as far as helping people get on the right track towards healing in a lot of situations. And just leave it at that. Mike refused to go along with RR. Instead, Mike spoke the truth, and RR got pissed. Okay. 1776 did not leave him homeless. Tell the facts. They left him. 1776 left him. That's my recollection, that when they all loaded up, that he came and joined, and they were all happy to have him. And then when they moved to Bunker Hill, they basically left him. Anyway. Yeah, it can be really confusing, Summer. Okay. Let's do that for a couple minutes, Telescope. Let me drop that link here again real quick. And hop on here, and then I'll get to... there we go. There. It worked a lot better that time. Can-Am Patriot. You are wrong, Doofus. What am I wrong about? I don't know as I've made any declarations on anything. Can-Am Patriot. Let me know what I'm wrong about, please. Mike doesn't sound mentally ill at all. We were starting to lose the connection there. Everything was fine for a while, and then everything started freezing up or beginning to. But I was going to ask about that, about how do we determine the mental state of people, especially when we're simply viewing them online. I dropped that link in there. Let me drop it again for you, Telescope. It is the night before elections, and yeah, they are all such great Christians, so-called Christians, according to Lois. Mental illness doesn't sound a certain way. I totally agree with that, Laura. 1776 tried to yake Mike. Hold on a second. I'm assuming that was supposed to be taken, and it's just but I want to address that. Where's it at? Here we go. 1776 tried to yake Mike. Again, take Mike with them. Josh was kicked out. Okay. Okay. Then again, I apologize for that. I remembered it wrong if that's the way it was. Homeless but clean clothes and shoes. I believe in demons and angels, but I'm no Satanist. Okay, L. Smith. Nothing wrong with that. Here we go. Telescope, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up?
Well, this has turned into a little bit of a guest night suddenly, the night before the elections. Yeah. So, what do you know? Allegedly or for fact?
So for fact, the some members were wearing security shirts in front of the court. Two of them were female and a male. Like Raptor and girl with the long hair.
The red security shirts that they wore at Bunker Hill.
Yeah,
and other places. Okay.
We're wearing those in front of the court. I do not understand how they've been allowed to have it at all. So Santa got 57 days suspended. Time served for his time in D.C., which was 2 days. And then practically so he gets to walk in and out of jail the same day.
Okay.
Which is even weird. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, so that's the 3 days. 2 days already served, and then just in and out on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Oreo was talking about how maybe they're thinking about throwing the idea of appealing it. which is garbage. Obviously, he got a slap in the wrist. The
Yeah.
only person who's going to win is the lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he lost,
Absolutely.
and he lost today. And then on top of it, it's even if they do the appeals and say hypothetically if they win, then that, I live in Maryland. So, that would set a precedence in my own state about, hey, I can go and shut down roadways because I feel it's my constitutional right to do it, which is deplorable.
Not going to happen.
Not
Yeah.
going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But then you also have if everyone, they're still bored, because they used to call the police and everything, including myself probably, about doing things, they committed misdemeanors. So the police have a year to file charges. So maybe the rest of 76 needs to be charged at this point, in my opinion. Because they're making a joke of the judicial system. It's a travesty, honestly.
Okay, I got a message from somebody that said ask about the swarming, that some man got swarmed at the courthouse today. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so I think that's the guy. I think he's shown up a few different times. He was the guy who would hold up that doe sign. I believe he was the same person.
Oh,
And
okay.
So he was like holding a doe Twitch sign. He went down there, and and that's another thing that I think my state needs to look into, because they were inciting violence on courthouse steps because Big D was in his face trying to get him to fight him.
Wow.
Because they're a bunch of fucking cockroaches, honestly, and they think they can move in and just own wherever they want to and do whatever the hell.
Where's that at? What video?
Oreo.
Oreo's got that?
It's
Where
on it's on the verdict. It's the verdict video.
Okay.
And honestly, it's like right in the beginning, in the first, I don't know, like 20 minutes. And you see he's wearing like a plaid shirt, and they kind of he goes up on the courthouse steps, and they kind of threaten to fight him. And then he kind of leaves, and they follow him. And odd enough, their red shirt security follows him down the street.
Wow.
Because
they
just think they
if that's on camera, I would say that might be a case of intimidation.
Absolutely. Intimidation, inciting violence. And like I said, like a joke of the judicial system for people who love law and order and Back the Blue and everything. But, it's only when it happens to them. It's terrible, right? But when it happens to everybody else, they fucking deserve it. So, like I said, I'm a Maryland resident, and I just watch this stuff, and I'm like, this is.
All right. While we got you on here, and before we let you go, being a Maryland resident, what do you see happening tomorrow, election day wise?
We need a Democrat in the state. I know the Republican running is kind of an issue with us.
Okay.
With, their belief of the election. I don't really want to get in depth, but I think we all understand what that is. Yeah. So hopefully, the one thing about when Hogan ran, he was against Trump and stuff. But at the same time, I live in a blue state, so he had to really kind of lean both ways and work across the aisle. He was fine, and even throughout all the C stuff, until it came to the unemployment checks and stuff. That's when I really started having an issue with him.
Okay, on a national scale, you want to give like a prediction what's going to happen, who's going to control the House, how many seats the House is going to have, what's going to happen in the Senate, any kind of predictions?
So there's our weird debate. The women lost their reproductive rights in this last year. That's going to bring out a lot of blue people. But then you also have the inflation, which obviously is always it's not a blue issue. It's called people don't understand how economics work. So the right just tends to exploit that and says, "Oh, we have a Democrat, so
it's their fault." Yeah.
So, and obviously that works well in their undereducated voter base. So, that's the weird trade-off. So, hopefully, we get more of a blue wave than a red wave, but who knows? History kind of teaches us pretty well of things usually get flipped on midterms, sadly enough.
Yeah. If things are going bad, the the public generally blames the party in power historically.
Yeah. So it has.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping for obviously more blue and left-wing independent seats, and not right-wing independent seats.
I hope you're right. I'm seeing it just the opposite kind of. I've got Republicans winning 230 House seats and Democrats winning 205, and I've got the Senate coming down to Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada. How those three states go will determine who has the majority in the Senate.
I usually keep up with like all the waves and the numbers and everything, but I think we've all been busy for the last, I don't know what, 10.
Oh yeah. And,
I recently bought a new guitar, so I've just been playing music. I really
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. All right, brother.
Actually, I'll give you something cool. So my fiance has been working on the poster of DC, and so you guys get a sneak peek of it. It's awesome. It's super fucking awesome.
Okay. All right.
So it's kind of like a Where's Waldo of like what happened in DC, and it kind of like little like instances. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Whoa. Lori Arnold with the rainbow flags, the stage.
Let's see. Up here, that's in your side. We got the fire truck with the woman falling off. I mean, obviously, we don't want to show Bandit. We put a person there. We got, I guess, AP with the truck. Wario losing his phone. The rats with the food. We had some Bunker Hill stuff.
The rats with the food. Oh my gosh.
We got Taco Joe.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to see how it's going. Okay. The witches. The RV with Maul in it.
Oh man.
Mags putting children in a van.
And this is all satire and for comedy purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Santa going to jail. He's getting handcuffed up there.
Yeah, Lisa. You got Wizzy filming Whistle Girl. She's been working on it. It's super cool. And getting Mace Pistol. You got Jersey J.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And there's Chud sitting in the
chair.
I hope that's coming through good on the screen.
Yeah.
As good Rose, as I'm seeing it.
Rose praying.
All right.
Yeah.
One final thing there before we let you go. What are your thoughts on what we know what allegedly is going on with hippie mama / Naughty Aubrey potentially being with child?
I think she's probably in mid-40s.
I think someone said she had in her early to mid-40s.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, having childbirth past 35, 36 is pretty detrimental to the child's health for numerous things, and plus it's the mother's health and everything. So, I mean, obviously there's anomalies, but we kind of know, like, from a scientific basis. I wish the child a lot of hope. I think we all know who the child's parents are. I don't really wish ill will on children or whatever. Hopefully she doesn't have issues or whatever, but
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Obviously looking at them and how they live their lives and everything.
All right, man.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. But it's kind of the topic of, it's one of the topic du jours, if you will.
I mean, Big D's a fucking moron, and she's a person.
All right.
All we need to know is and more. You look at the list and there's and more. I think that's
always and more. Yes.
I mean, obviously she's going to add something else to that list. Pretty soon.
You can only list so many things.
I mean, pregnancy porn is a fetish, I guess.
Probably so. I don't know. Hey, I'm not here to judge. People let their freak flag fly. I will point out hypocrisy when another side is claiming to be Christian based, and yet all that we see all this stuff. So I'll point out that hypocrisy. But
Absolutely.
as far as let your freak flag fly.
Yeah, sure.
I
mean, that's the whole thing about like their
as
view
long as it ain't hurting anybody else.
Sure. I mean, that's the whole view of like, of they take these very strong views against transgender people, but transgenderism is not mentioned in the Bible. But it definitely does say about having sex before marriage and multiply marrying different men and all those other things. The Bible explicitly says those things, but they don't want to get into those subjects. But it's all about people like Elisa, living her life and trying to be a good person.
And I have forgot to mention her up until you just said that. As far as being responsible for getting them out of Bunker Hill, because they were out there a couple of days as well, and I think that gets overlooked.
It does. They went to DC and they went there, and I met her at Berkeley Springs. I didn't know who the hell she was. I saw her on a Wizzy stream, and I was like, okay, who's this girl? And then I met her down there and stuff. No, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love her to death.
Okay. All right. We always do this. I always say, okay, one final thing, and we're gonna keep.
Yeah, I can't hear you now. Okay. All right. Am I in charge of this now or not? Hey, chat. I can't see him.
There we go.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah. We got kicked off there for some. we got kicked off there for a second. I don't know if anybody. Yeah, people are still here. I think at least people are, or at least in the chat. Crap, I forget what the one final thing I was going to ask was. Somebody says groovy sweater telescope.
Oh, I love my cardigans.
GA from CA says it's the telescope show.
Yeah.
Lori Arnold says telescope, tell Claude to stop texting.
You know what? Like anytime you mention him, like he just tends to blow your phone up. So I just don't talk about him. So I think that's the best way to do it.
Dean Walls says telescope. Are you baby daddy?
No. I think I've seen some of the photos, and I think I would.
Okay. Paradise Pete says, Doofus, ask Telescope why does he mod Red Squirrel's channel?
I don't really particularly mod his channel. It's one of those things. I think Brett Boyle does that. I know there's a few other channels that do it. That like, if they definitively know that's your channel, like that's you who's chatting on there, they'll give you a wrench just so they don't have to worry about, because people make fake.
Right, so they don't have to worry about fake accounts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's all it is. I don't mod on there. I don't particularly want to mod on there. I particularly don't hardly even go on there anymore. I think I need to do some soul searching, honestly.
All right. I forget what the last thing was, but I'm sure I'll remember it, when I'm halfway down the road.
I'm afraid of Claude. I'm not afraid of Claude. I mean, he's a fucking psychopath, I think Lori and AP were crying about him flipping out at one point, so I don't particularly understand that question, Lori. They're a traitor if you talk to Red, yeah, I guess. I don't know. The way lots of people way past relatives, I don't support that. When did I become like the voice and the speaker for Red? I don't particularly understand that.
Are you and Telescope playing musical chairs?
Yes.
We did flip back and forth there somehow. Yeah, we do. We both end up having shit-eating grins when we have conversations. That seems like Jodines. Hellraiser says they think I am Claude. LOL. So I don't know.
I think Hellraiser is Claude, but it doesn't really matter. Honestly,
you think Hellraiser is Claude? Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine willingly associating with any of these people, any
I
of
mean,
those people.
will people willing to associate on our side? I think that's the weird question. I was on the research today about that. It's about like at the common level of the low hanging fruit of of community building. But we've all seen how those communities have changed and the themes and stuff and how who people associate with. And I think we're all left with the weird question at the end of it, like, are you associated with? Does that define you? Like you've had Max on your show. BTM had Lizzie a few times. I have a wrench on Reg's channel. I don't agree with him for practically anything. I've contacted him over his statements over people. Told him I didn't support it, why I shouldn't support it. Maybe, I think you're going by things the wrong way. And we're all left with that question, but the problem is everyone will say you are associate with, but at the same time go, we need to heal the political divide in this country. Well, how do you do that? Well, communication. If I came on here and just started cussing you out, Barry, and was like, "Hey, I think you're a retard, X, Y, and Z," like you wouldn't give me time of day, and I wouldn't expect you to, and vice versa.
Right. Yeah. All right.
I think this is the last thought for everyone to go with. I think that's pretty good.
Hellraiser says, "Doofus, my first name is Bill. The joke's on them fools." All right, Bill.
We
Bill
think
and
the
Jeff
telescope cares about pedos. I was one of the first people who brought up the pedophilia stuff besides you, Lori, actually before you. So, I know you joined because of that, but, and AP didn't, and neither the squirrels. But, like, they're not living in a parking lot anymore. They're practically back home. Bandit hasn't been around. Even when we were at Bunker Hill, Bandit wasn't there. My issue was they were a cult. And honestly, Lori, you were a part of that cult. You were a 76 member, and definitely you were a TPC member, who is obviously you saw the resonance in the beginning stages of a cult like behavior then. So, whatever.
but do you discount somebody that comes out of that movement? And should that be discounted just because they were part of the movement once they saw enough is enough and got out of it?
There's a difference when you leave a cult and denounce something versus still staying with it. Yeah. That's the weird question we're all left with. Like, who you associate with, right? Like a lot of us weirdly got along with people. I think Lori tried to hang out with Jay Lynn not so long ago too. Does that work for her? Jay Lynn was a 76, and Matt was a 76er. They still are. Still support Oreo.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that's going to be tricky. If there is some Fed somewhere that has been involved with all this, and if that is the case, and if charges are ever brought, it's going to get down to, is it going to be like technicalities of like, well, I supported them, but I wasn't a part of it, or I raised money. You know what I'm saying?
I think their argument is the optics issue. I think Mags has brought it up. I think Wizzy's brought it up, where they didn't support the pedophilia, but at the same time, they supported the movement. So, and it comes in those optics issue where like, okay, I think they like what I've understood of it, whatever, give it thought. I think they look about principle, but the problem is when you look at things about principle, you give up the supporting evidence against that. You know what I mean? You're not allowing movement of thoughts or ideas. You can become firm in your beliefs, and that's scary for any person.
Okay, yeah. I remember what the one final thing was. The episode before I had AP on, I talked about how if you and JJ and Squirrels and AP and Whistle Girl and of course Lori and Ant, if you all had not coalesced at the mall, if none of you would have shown up, if there had been no boots on the ground, if 1776 had done what I heard Santa say he wanted to do, which was establish a foothold.
Mhm.
I said that potentially there could be a mass patriot encampment on the mall as we head into the midterm elections had you guys not acted. Do you think
I
that's
think
a
we all,
possibility?
yeah. I mean, I was the original boots on the ground before all that all happened. I mean, that's why I offered my services and tried to help them out. Um, but at the same time, yeah, that's what they wanted. I mean, and obviously, I think we did a great job of ending '76. But I think a lot of them are still holding on to clout and viewers and donos when it's over. I mean, that's why they're all getting server paperwork. That's why they're all worried about restraining orders multiple days. Like you kind of need to know when it's up. Like the party's over. It's time to go home. Rebuild your life. Have something. Like I originally called in just to talk about the Santa stuff with you, just because you were asking questions and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's easier just to.
Time to enjoy Thanksgiving and head into a new year.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
place to end it. Always a pleasure, man. We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. Take care,
All right.
man.
See ya.
Bye.
Telescope. You can't stay in the middle, really. Telescope Red. Who are work? Hold on a second here. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get back into. Shoot, we've already been on for an hour and 15 minutes. It looks like. I haven't even done this yet. Normally, this is how we start with the top stories going on in mainstream. BBC says U.S. midterm elections angry and petrified. U.S. voters sharing their fears. CNN says Fetterman sues to have mail-in ballots counted, even if not signed. I'm not sure that's legal. New York Times, LA voters are in a foul mood. Will a new mayor change anything? Bloomberg says economy, inflation dominant midterms as Republicans eye Congress. Again, as I said there with Telescope, I'm anticipating the Republicans make a very strong. There's going to be a red wave, and 230 Republican House seats and 205 Democrat House seats is my prediction for the House, unfortunately, but I'm just being real. And for the Senate, it's going to come down to Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. NPR says what happened today at the COP27 climate talks. We're going to get to that in a few minutes as well. And I'll get back into the chat in a couple of minutes too here, but let's run through our Twitter bookmark scroll. Touched on this last night, and it's something we do need to keep an eye on, something to think about. Quote, I think it is clear to everyone that Ukraine emphasizes what security emphasis Israel makes, end quote, the Ukrainian president said. Zelensky appeals to Israel's Netanyahu. The threats to us are related. In other words, the same people that are your enemies are also my enemies. And, the enemy of your enemy is also going to be the enemy of Israel in this case. Now, where's that go next time? Who's next to say, well, this is happening, and is it the United Kingdom saying, okay, we've got this problem with this country, and as they do, because Russia is accusing them of a lot of things, including the disruption of the undersea pipeline. Mentioned the COP27 developing countries and climate. They need $1 trillion a year in climate finance. And again, we've shown you some things that that kind of point to the fact that there's really not a significant man-made impact. Not that there's no impact at all, but when you look at what's going on with the polar shift, with the weakening magnetic field, with things like that, there's at least cause for re-examination of the major causes for climate change, in my opinion. Again, we don't tell you what to think, we just give you things to think about. How you think and what you think, that's up to you. We just want to make sure you think. Whatever, this was sent to me with the request, please put this out. Whatever you do, please do not retweet this video of former federal judge Michael Ludig, Cruz's former mentor, who he once described as like a father, warning America about the danger of Trump and MAGA Republicans. Ted Cruz would be really upset. Let's see what he says.
I have written, as you said, Chairman Thompson, that today, almost 2 years after that fateful day in January 2021, that still Donald Trump and his allies and supporters are a clear and present danger to American democracy.
Okay, you can catch the rest of that video again at Republicans Against Trumpism. RPS Against Trump is the @sign. And this next one is specifically for those of you watching that are not fans of daylight savings time. I'm sorry, it just makes me laugh, this little guy down here. Explain it again. It feels like 5 o'clock dinner time, but it's really only 4 o'clock. That's it. That's how it works. Okay, speaking of the UK and US, as we were a few months ago, and the allied nations, those two specifically, the UK has announced to the US a gas deal after the climate change summit. That's according to Reuters. Not a surprise, as Russia is not going to be supplying a lot of the natural resources that have been dependent upon. There was a rally tonight in Ohio. It was supposed to be for J. Vance, but instead it turned into more of a...
In all these polls, I don't know if you find those poll numbers in the socks.
Okay, here we go. Let's start this all over. And here is the former President of the United States speaking supposedly in support of J.D. Vance for Senate.
In his socks. Nothing happened except a great verdict. He got a great verdict. We go by that verdict.
I'm not sure why that happened, but let's try it one more time here. Here, I'll tell you what. We'll pull it up like this. Thank you all for watching. Again, former...
Great verdict. He's got a great verdict. We go by that verdict. The socks verdict. But no, he had it in his socks. You know that, right? And others took many, many documents. They take them out of the took documents. Only one that can't take anything. But maybe our country would be better off if I actually had the nuclear codes, JD, because our enemies would be afraid, unlike the way they are now. If I had the nuclear codes, Bill Clinton lost the nuclear codes twice. How do you explain that to the military? I've lost the military codes. What do you... He lost the military codes twice. I didn't. They're coming after me because I'm fighting for you. That's all it is. Isn't leading in all these polls. I don't know if you find those poll numbers in his socks. Nothing happened to him.
Okay. Again, it appears like Bill Clinton lost the launch codes, and I don't know. Again, to me, him saying maybe I should have the launch codes. Of course, that means maybe I should be president. And again, I've stated on here before, a little known opportunity to put the former president back into office would be to make him Speaker of the House if the Republicans take the House, as I predict they will rather convincingly. Again, I'm saying 230 to 205. We'll see how it plays out. We'll be on tomorrow night too, by the way. We're going to start at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll be on at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about the elections. And also, if you want to get on, we'll open it up for guests again tomorrow night. But anyway, you don't have to be a member of the House of Representatives to be Speaker of the House. And there will be a push for him to be Speaker of the House. That is my prediction. He'll be like, oh, I had no idea, blah, blah, blah. When there's been a plan, and I've been saying that. And it's a conspiracy theory. Everything is a conspiracy theory until it happens. And again, Election Day is officially here. It is officially the 8th of November in the eastern half of the United States. And according to Time magazine, I'm scared to death. Arizona voters brace for tense midterm elections. Quote, I'm scared to death. They fear political violence and instability in the days ahead as votes are counted. That's another thing. There's going to be a lot of people not being declared winners tomorrow night, and a lot of potential conspiracy theories about what is going on around the elections. So we're going to be on here watching all of it and talking about all of it. And coming up here in just a couple of hours, it's officially 1:23 a.m. here again in the eastern portion of the United States. And last total lunar eclipse until 2025 begins at 4:09 Eastern Time. And so coming up here in about 3 hours. And here are details of how to view it and why lunar eclipse is so fascinating. The rhythm of life is driven by astronomical changes, quote unquote. So if you are still awake, go check that out if the skies are clear enough, and hopefully they are wherever you may be. And if not, you'll be able to watch it online. Newsweek, the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, has said Russia has used 80% of its modern missiles in the conflict. That's not all we're going to be talking about there, but if that is the case, then they'll be buying a lot more than they already have. They bought a lot of drones. They bought a lot of missiles from Iran. They've launched some from Belarus, and they brought Iranian technicians in to show the Russians how to use the equipment. And it's getting more and more entangled and more potential for something to happen that causes, if not the entire world, a large portion of the world to be at war. And war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Russian businessman Yevgeny Prigozhin, close ally of Putin, key figure in the war in Ukraine, admitted bluntly on Monday to interfering in U.S. elections. So there's that. Kyiv, as well as other Ukrainian regions, experience a daily long-term power outages. We talked about that last night, and about Russia damaging about 40% of Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Um, that's what I told you last night. That is what I had heard underground, and 9 hours ago it came out officially. North Korea. Hold on a second. I bumped down way too far here. There we go. North Korea has announced that it is preparing to take overwhelming and resolute military measures against the United States and South Korea in response to recent military exercises. Again, we showed this and talked about it last night. I wanted to bring it back up and end with it tonight as far as our scroll. And because the final note here, South Korea, South Korea, French, and U.S. intelligence analysts also stated they are expecting Pyongyang to most likely conduct a nuclear test sometime either right before or after the midterm elections. So we are in that time frame if that is to happen. Couple other things I want to show real quick here, and then I got something really kind of interesting at the end, something to think about. Okay, I googled midterm election predictions. Political experts issue election predictions. 538 is a pretty good predictor. Midterm predictions. Red tsunami comes into view once more. And one of the problems is there's a lot of talk about this, and I just told you I told you what I think it's going to be rather significant. If that doesn't happen, if there is indeed a blue wave, which there very easily could be, especially with the number of early voting that's gone on. Generally, the higher the vote numbers, the better that is for the blue party. So we'll see. And again, we'll be here tomorrow night and kind of talking about all of it. CNN, what early voting data can and cannot tell us, and Politico, the final forecasts. So that's what's happening as far as what mainstream is saying could potentially be happening. So I got two final things here. One of them is the conditions for political violence. The question I've asked on here before, how close is the United States to a civil war? Hopefully we're an incredibly long distance away from it. But they talked to three experts. They're people that have written books. I've written three of them, so they ought to be talking to me and giving me the money. Anyway, Barbara F. Walter, judges will be assassinated. Democrats will be jailed on bogus charges. Black churches and synagogues bombed. That her prediction of how civil wars start and how to stop them. And Americans increasingly talking about war in August after the FBI raided Trump's Florida home. Twitter references to civil war jumped 3,000%. Trump supporters immediately went online tweeting threats the civil war would start if he was indicted. One account wrote, is it Civil War o'clock yet? Another said, get ready for an uprising. Lindsey Graham, senator from South Carolina, said there would be riots in the streets if Trump was indicted. Trump himself predicted that, quote, terrible things are going to happen, end quote. So that's one. Let's go down here. Again, it's a rather lengthy article. We're going to touch on all three the potentials. Stephen Marche says, quote, America has passed the point at which the triumph of one party or another can fix what's wrong with it, end quote. Again, we put these things out here. We give you things to think about. Don't tell you what to think. We don't tell you how to think. We just are trying to constantly spark people to think, because we're much better individually, and we are much better society when we think. And again, remember, we started all this out with George Orwell, and war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is knowledge. Were three of the most powerful statements from the 1984 book. Just something to think about on election eve. And finally, Christopher Sebastian Parker, quote, many white people feel the need to take drastic measures to maintain white supremacy, end quote. And he's a professor of political science at the University of California, Santa Barbara, and the author of Change They Can't Believe in, the Tea Party and the Reactionary Politics in America. So those are the three major potential tipping points, or hot buttons, or triggers, if you will, that could indeed lead to civil war, according to those experts. Again, we're just giving you things to think about, and it's important. We're on the eve of the election. Early voting's been going on, but the majority of votes are cast today, later on today, in our time zone anyway, as we speak, and also in Central Time Zone now, by the way. So I voted last Wednesday. Remember when Trump made a speech at the UN and they all laughed at him? Yeah, I do. Trump, Biden, Trudeau, and Putin all suck. I'm not going to argue with any of that. Lori, what is your life purpose without 1776? Oh, come on, Dean Wall. I think Lori's going to do some things. And it is really different. It's really different when you meet in person, okay? Because a lot of people are one way online, and then or on stage or whatever it may be, and totally different when you meet them in person. But Tupelo, thank you. Hope you have a speedy recovery and receive great news. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still waiting on a biopsy, and again, I go back in for a procedure on the other side coming up next Tuesday, I think it is. Anyway, we are, hold on a second, because I did a little joke thing about Oprah, that it's Oprah season, and it's like, you get a restraining order, and you get a restraining order, and you get a protective order. Somebody said something about stop voting Democrat if you found out they want everyone eating bugs. No Democrats I know have ever said anything even remotely like that. Oprah Winfrey made Dr. Oz popular and then didn't endorse him. Yeah, it's one thing to be a personality on TV and be able to make money as a TV doctor. It's another thing to get in the political realm. Herschel Walker has displayed that, but nonetheless, again, it's going to come down to Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. Those 3 states as to who controls the Senate. And I can't believe people honestly think Herschel Walker is qualified to be a senator. But what time tomorrow? I'm going to be on at 10 o'clock Eastern. So 2 hours earlier than normal. And there ought to be some, there ought to be a fair amount of results to go through. And we'll click in and we'll watch some of the other, we'll restream NBC, Fox, CBS, CNN. And also we will restream the, I forget the name, RSNB or something like that. The My Pillow Guys channel. We will check in on the My Pillow Guys channel tomorrow night too, because he's going to be running, he's going to be broadcasting live, and he's going to be pointing out all the incredible criminal activity that's going on around the elections. So we'll see how that is. I would say 95% who are currently there aren't qualified, so that doesn't matter much. I can understand you saying that, Jicky. Glad I'll be on early. Okay. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. We might start a little bit earlier coming up here soon. Depends on how things go. But okay, I've got one final thing that I want to do. I want to play Michael Lindell. Yes, Mike Lindell, My Pillow Guy. I got one final thing I want to do. Komet says Trump 2024. Again, I don't think they're going to wait for 2024. I could be very wrong, but we may not have to wait long to find out. I'm here for the Griffin folks, here to take out someone I once did with a failed church. Hawaiian Islands have been the new Epstein Island for years, aka Democrat playland. Okay. I don't know how true that is, but you have the right to say and believe what you want. And that's not, it's not my place to say, okay, you can't know, that's absolutely wrong. Because a lot of things have happened that we are not aware of. And while there are many factors at work to keep all of us as humanoids separated and broken down into manageable boxes with recognizable labels, and everyone can be identified and controlled and manipulated. And as long as we don't realize we have the power to do really whatever we want if we would all just unite, as long as that doesn't happen, everything's cool. Again, 1984, George Orwell. And buy my book too. 2 ways to do that. You can do it in the description below the video, or you can email me and get an autographed copy, and I'll mail it to you. All right, here's the final thing we are going to do tonight. This is called a U.S. nuclear attack broadcast. This is a simulation, especially for those of you watching on the replay, or if you're just joining us, or if you're joining us in the middle of this little thing we're going to do here to end the night. This is a simulation. I talk a lot on here about being prepared. And one of the things to help prepare is to mentally imagine what could happen. So we're going to watch this, and I'm going to pause it at a couple of points and talk about a couple of things. But this is what it might look like were something to happen.
Full of symbolism. So the fear is that this could trigger a very strong Russian response. We saw yesterday that a residential area of the city of Zaporizhia, a major city in the south of the country, very close to the front lines, was hit. More than a dozen. So
this is a whole different league. Welcome to
There weren't, of course, there weren't any ads a half an hour ago when I went through this. Hang with me here. Hopefully, we'll just have this one. No. Again, thank you all for watching. And if this is copywritten, I do not own the copyrights to this. This is being used for educational purposes only to provoke thought and the purpose of just making aware a situation that we could all be facing. Hopefully, we never do.
This is an NBC News special report. Here is Melissa Rayberger.
We have breaking news at this hour.
We interrupt this program. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow.
Again, this is just a simulation if you're just tuning in.
The National Primary EAS system has issued a National Emergency Action Notification for the continental United States. This station has interrupted its regular program at the request of the U.S. government to participate in the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test.
This is a simulation if you're just joining us.
The National Primary EAS system has issued a National Emergency Action Notification for the continental United States. This station has interrupted its regular program at the request of the U.S. government to participate in the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test.
This is a
The following
simulation.
message is being delivered at the direction of the United States government. This is an attack warning. I repeat, this is an attack warning. An attack warning indicates that an attack in this country has been identified, and protective measures should be initiated. NORAD has detected the launch of 6 nuclear missiles. It has been verified that these missiles are directed towards the continental United States. This test. It is anticipated that these missiles will be armed with nuclear warheads. Since the targets are unknown at this time, all civilians in the United States are highly encouraged to remain calm. Underground refuge may have enough non-perishable canned meals and drinkable water for the next 14 days. When the threat is passed, an all-clear siren will sound.
Okay, what they've told you so far, again, this is just simulation, but assuming this were happening, what they've said is to remain calm and to seek shelter underground. Okay, let's just start with that. Remaining calm. All right, we know what that means. Seeking shelter underground. Ask yourself this question. Do you have underground shelter if it were needed? I personally do not. My thought process was, okay, I'm not sure where I would go if there is such a place close enough to where I'm at. And if that underground shelter I were to go to, they would not accept my dog or my cat for someone may be allergic or whatever it may be. The fact that you're going to be in there for 14 days. Make sure you have enough. The second thing, make sure you have enough non-perishable canned meals and drinkable water for the next 14 days. If suddenly an alarm goes off like we are watching, this is, as I said, this is why we talk about being prepared. Do you have that? Do you have that on hand? You're not going to be able to run to the store. You may be, depending on where you're at, but chances are you're going to have just a few short minutes to make a lot of decisions. And the less panic you have, the better decision-making skills you'll possess.
The all-clear siren will sound like an air raid siren. Once the all-clear siren is heard, it is permissible to go outdoors. Do not try to evacuate until you hear the all-clear siren. Radiation levels will be lethal. This broadcast shall deliver authenticated news and information on the situation to the American people in order to maintain transparency. NORAD is putting in a continuous effort to determine the missile's targets. The U.S. National Missile Defense System is currently being deployed to protect the country from incoming missiles. The Russian Federation has launched a nuclear strike against NATO states, triggering NATO Article 5 response. An attack on one is deemed an attack on all. The President of the United States, alongside with NATO allies, has authorized a counterattack comprising the launch of intercontinental ballistic missiles, targeting critical Russian targets. This will paralyze the aggressor, preventing a nuclear retaliatory strike.
Okay, what we heard there, the fact that if Russia were to strike the United Kingdom, as an example, that we would therefore respond. And again, this is based on Russia being an aggressor, but there are other potential aggressors. And again, we're just doing this. We're just showing this to kind of set the stage, if you will, as to what could happen, and so that you can ask yourself, what would I need to do if this were happening right now?
This is a national emergency. American lives are in danger. Remain calm and seek underground safety as quickly as possible.
If you're just joining us, this is a simulation.
The United States government is doing all necessary to defend. This is a follow-up to the previously issued National Emergency Action Notification. Potential targets have been identified by NORAD/US Northcom. 6 incoming intercontinental ballistic missiles are expected to strike the United States in about 15 minutes. All citizens residing within 100 miles of military bases, major industrial centers, and key infrastructures such as power plants, dams, and water reservoirs in California, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and the District of Columbia. If you reside in any of the potential targeted states, seek underground shelter now. This is an attack warning. Seek refuge before countdown ends. It is too late to evacuate. Relocate to a basement or underground room on the ground level of a sturdy building. Stand away from windows, doors, and exterior walls. Make as much space as possible between yourself and the outside world. Carry a battery-powered radio with you to use throughout your stay at the shelter. Do not leave your shelter until it has been. You will be exposed to radioactive fallout if you leave. Fallout is a result of nuclear explosions. Sustained exposure can result in illness or death. Keep an eye on local news media for further updates. The President will be addressing on all radio and television stations momentarily.
And the entire So again, just giving us something to think about. All right. I can't get underground. I wouldn't be leaving my dog and my cat if I could get underground. Lori, please bring egg rolls. Make friends with basement dwellers. Well, yeah, it's not, Lois, I can understand how you can say fear porn. It's not meant as such. I totally understand it can be interpreted as such. The intention is just to get us into a place where we can think the unthinkable. Because for a lot of us, we have grown up with the concept that it was always there. You know, the idea that nuclear destruction or nuclear war was always there, but that MAD, M-A-D, mutually assured destruction, that concept would always prevail, that it would be insane for one country to launch. We are in a different era now. And while it is still insane, in my opinion, for any country to even consider doing such, it is very much on the table. And not just that, but just the fact that the weather, there's the potential of a hurricane striking Florida again the day after Election Day. And, it doesn't have to be a war situation that causes the emergency. And the need for preparedness. I'm just going to keep reinforcing it because I believe in it. I'm not telling you take all your money out of the bank. I'm not telling you, to dig a bomb shelter. They're telling you that they're telling you that in that little scenario we just showed. But I'm just telling you that, and especially because I know we've got a lot of what I like to call good-spirited people, lights, if you will, people that like helping people, people that want to help other people. Those of you that are in that category, you're going to be needed in potentially. You're going to be needed in disaster situations. And the first thing you got to do is take care of yourself. You can't help anybody if you're dead. So if you're one of those people, if you're a caregiver, if you're an empath, if you're a positive, if you are a light, if you are a someone that cares, if you're just if you're a people person, you're someone that wants to help, if you see help as necessary, first thing you got to do is take care of yourself, especially in emergency situations, because you can't help anybody if you're dead. Ruth Sanders, this reminds me of the day after. The movie gave me nightmares as a kid. I think that was 1984, I believe, when that movie came out. Sometime in that period, maybe 82, 83, somewhere around that. And yeah, that movie was... that movie should have reminded everyone not to ever get to the point where even talking about such things. That was that movie and the original Red Dawn back then were two movies that should have taught us all not to ever go down that path. So I was sharing with you since you were stating how well informed you are, but busting on doofus for sharing. Awesome, Lori Arnold. Yeah. How far can you get? Fahrenheit 451. Ray Bradbury. Ray Bradbury actually is from 15 miles away from where I'm at. And I'll tell you what, in all seriousness, it's not just because I wrote it, but it's a good story. It really is. It's a good book. There's no pictures in it. There's no coloring, and it's a good book. You can find out where to get it in the description below this video, or email me and we'll get you an autographed copy. Barry Lewis keeps saying you're sharing fear porn. No, again, Lois, I understand how some people might think that's what that was. It's not. It's just but it is a potential reality, and I hope you can at least see that. I certainly never want that to be our reality. I pray it is not our reality. However, it wouldn't be beneficial at all for me to tell anyone that, oh, that's never going to happen, because number one, we don't know, and number two, if it does, it's going to catch a whole lot of people on, by surprise. It won't catch anybody that has watched this particular episode. They'll be like, yeah, it is kind of like we saw on Doofus that night, all that time ago. Now I'm expecting American Doofus to start shilling prepper slop buckets. Max, you may be onto something. Buy a bunch of 5-gallon buckets and have them as emergency crappers. Sell them through Etsy or something. In the world we live in today, anything is possible, so nothing's wrong with being prepared. Actually, I find it, I'm a little bit, knowing that I've got some water put away, knowing that I've got enough food put away, knowing that, and it doesn't have to be nuclear, but the thing about nuclear is you ain't going to have a lot of time. If you're not prepared, you're not going to have any time. If you got 15 minutes to try to decide where you're going to go, and they tell you if you're 100 miles within a 100-mile radius of a major city, you need to get out. People that aren't prepared are going to be in an incredible panic. And I hope that never ever happens. Always be prepared. Yeah, it's a Boy Scouts solemn oath to always be prepared, to be square and to obey the law of the pack. Biden takes the threat of a red wave, which will happen in the elections, more than he takes the threat and repercussions of his war profiteering and interference in Ukraine and Hunter's actions. Okay. What do I do in a tornado, Lori? I try to go film it. Yeah. I try to go film it. If it's at night, and then I get into the bathroom, the center room, and Doofus cat won't always cooperate and come in there. I can generally get Doofus dog in there with me, and we just try to ride it out there. I don't have any underground shelters. Storm Chaser. No, not on that scale, but yeah, I've been fortunate to be able to take some pictures of some tornadoes in the area, and I haven't got a good video yet. One night, I caught a gas explosion. There was a fire, and I went out to cover the fire. This was back when I had big VHS camera, big Sony VHS camera that, weighed like 17 pounds or something. And I happened to be covering this fire, and the fire went down the gas line and blew up about a quarter of a mile away. So I got a really great explosion shot and sold that to several news stations. But yeah. But I'm fascinated by the power of weather, and especially the power of tornadoes. And in 1974 in Indiana, there was a tornado in the spring, and a deadly F4 to F5 tornado. And I happened to be in a high school at that time, and it all but destroyed the area where I was at, and I happened to be under a big table and came out alive. But that experience made me just in awe of tornadoes. So anyway, we've been going for a couple hours now. It's time for me to get off of here. Again, we'll be back tomorrow night starting at 10 o'clock with our election night coverage, and hopefully you'll be on here. We'll do a little bit of everything. We'll do some, take a look at what the various networks are saying, and some other channels. Do your own canning and preps. Do not trust the so-called survival food outfits. I would recommend that too, Paradise Pete. Especially, if it gets in a situation where you're not really sure what you bought, and it's too late because SHTF has already happened, and you don't know what you got. Thank you, She-Hawk. Thank you for being on here. Thank you, L. Smith, Ruth Sanders, Paradise Pete, Jicky. Thank you all. And, oh, cool. Awesome, Jicky. That's a great name. They must be great people. Your son and your husband must both be great people, because very few bad people named Barry. All of us are pretty great. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Again, we'll be back tomorrow night starting at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll do an election night special, Late Night America, on the American Doofus Show. Good night, Lori Arnold. Thank you all. I love you all.